Regardless, I have 2 pieces of good news and 3 pieces of bad news regarding the still ongoing 35-kilometer-long magma dike that has generated the aforementioned mud volcanoes, explosion crater, Ethiopia's largest earthquake since 1992, and an additional 83 magnitude 4 and 5 range earthquakes. Good news first, the good news. As you might have noticed, the number of earthquakes and overall seismic energy has dramatically decreased since it reached a peak on January 4, suggesting that the risk of eruptive activity at least for now is declining. Second, due to new research from a scientific paper now being referenced on screen, we are certain that the composition of the underlying magma dike is basaltic instead of rhyolitic. Basalt eruptions tend to be significantly less hazardous than rhyolitic eruptions, although both are still quite dangerous. And now, bad news, the bad news. This same paper suggested that we got the dimensions of the smaller late September to mid-October 2024 magma dike wrong. While we initially thought it was 21 km long and located at a depth of 4 km, it was in fact only 11 km long and located at a mere depth of 3 km. This body of magma was estimated to be a mere 2 meters or 6.6 feet wide, but don't let that small figure fool you, as it still contained 80 million cubic meters of magma. While we don't know for sure of the composition of the current intrusion, I see absolutely Ethiopian volcanoes, no reason why it wouldn't be even shallower than 3 km and also basaltic. However, what is most concerning is that magma seemingly reached its final maximum shallow depth very early on in the intrusion and then became propagating horizontally, accounting for the vast majority of the earthquakes. In other words, unless dedicated sensors are placed on the ground right next to this ongoing volcanic unrest, we could potentially miss the next time an intrusion occurs, as by the time earthquakes large enough to be noted by the seismometer in Addis Ababa are noted, it could be too late and the volcano may have already erupted. And now, the third piece of bad news. While in my "this happened before" interpretation it does appear that magma is no longer getting any shallower, just propagating further horizontally primarily to the northeast, it seems quite likely that more magma dikes are likely to occur in the short to mid-term future. I say this not only because we witnessed the exact same series of events on Iceland's Reykjanes Peninsula since 2019, but also because the Fentale volcano at the southern end of the newly formed magma dike also experienced a greatly accelerated rifting event approximately 215 years ago. That event resulted in a series of at least 3 volcanic eruptions across 3 distinct volcanoes sometime between 1805 and 1820. Resulting in 53.34 square kilometers or 20.6 square miles being covered in a layer of fresh basaltic lava. Now, we don't know if this occurred within a month, a year, or more than a decade of each other, but due to its apparent similarity to ongoing events, it would be reasonable to expect more magmatic intrusions and possibly even actual magmatic eruptions to occur in the next several years here. In other words, if and when people are allowed to return, which should not be done yet since the area is not completely safe yet in terms of volcanic eruption and seismic hazards at the present, they may have to end up evacuating again multiple times in the next several years. While the early 1800s accelerated rifting eruptions appear to have only been mildly explosive, hence the formation of cinder cones, I cannot guarantee that the same will occur this time around, especially if a vent forms underneath or near a lake such as Lake Basaka, as that would almost certainly result in a highly explosive eruption.